back in with meteorologist Daniel McFarland. Daniel, you know, when I hear tsunami, I'm thinking, several feet, but you're telling me maybe just a few inches?
Yeah, so most tsunamis are only a few inches to maybe a foot tall, but obviously the video you saw there was a little bit more significant, and there was even some in California that had some as well. But as far as any warnings or advisories, Danelle, we've kind of seen the warnings back off. We now have tsunami advisories in between San Francisco and San Diego. Outside of that, the National Weather Service is saying that you're going to be in the clear. So if you're in spots like Oregon or Washington, you are now taken off of that so far. So we still have the advisories in effect. So if you have any family members over on the West Coast, just make sure to check in on them, make sure everything's all good. But back here in Tucson, 60 is where that temperature is right now. That wind's still pretty strong, and that's something that's not going to be lasting too much longer. The reason why we're seeing that is because we have high pressure right over the four corners, and at the same time that low pressure center that's really been staying here for the past little bit, it's getting a little bit closer towards Tucson, but all we're going to see this system do is just kind of hang out over San Diego for the next week. And I know that kind of sounds like that's exactly what it was doing for the past week, but we're really not going to be having a ton of changes here. That low is just going to push more cloud cover over Tucson for the next few days, and we're not really going to have any strong chances of rain. But we could have a small chance of rain, I think, if this low gets out of the way a little bit. And that's something we'll be talking about here in just a minute. But let's go over the winds a little bit more for tomorrow. Again, I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad. 5 to 10 miles per hour, that should be about it. And you can see even into the evening, nothing really to talk about there. So you'll be done by the time you wake up tomorrow. The temperatures might be a couple degrees warmer. Now, again, this is going to depend on what you can expect with the cloud cover. So currently, pretty thick out there as far as the clouds go, and that's why the temperature's still around 60 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon, we're probably looking at 72, 44 Midtown overnight for a low. But again, if you do have clear skies, you're probably going to have lows back in the upper 30s out there. Some spots that are definitely going to be down in the 30s, I think, is going to be Cochise County. A lot of you have seen those cooler temperatures for the past few nights, but it still looks like right around freezing for a lot of you, a little bit clearer over there. So spots like Wilcox might get down to 23, and you're only really going to have about the lower 60s for a high temperature. So for Tucson, temperature's not changing too much, staying around 70 degrees. The nights are going to be chillier, and again, that has a lot to do with cloud cover. So if you go to bed, you see those stars outside, you know it's going to be a cold morning after that. And like I mentioned before, no rain this week, and yes, there is still a small chance we could have something pop on up. I'm going to show you the 7-day in a second. There's not going to be any rain chances, but for this week, Phoenix does have rain chances out there. And if things go right, we could have that coming down towards Tucson. But at the moment, I just don't really have the confidence to put up a rain chance for Tuesday. But if there's any day over the next week where it could happen, that's the day I'm looking at. And again, it has a lot to do with that low getting closer towards San Diego and further away from Yuma. Kind of uncertain if that's going to be happening here. So temperature's not really changing too much here. 68 should be our coolest temperature here over the next week. And we're going to be expecting more sunshine, I think, towards next weekend. So Danelle, if you've wanted to see a little bit more sunshine out there, next weekend is going to be better than this weekend.
The 40s, though, and the 70s, you can't beat that.
No, this is pretty much, standard for right now, and I'm glad to see no 30s out there either.
This is why we go through the summer.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks so much. Stay with